This is going to make me sound petty. I have a coffee mug at my desk that says World's Okayest Employee. I bought it myself, on purpose, with my own money. Nobody made me do this. This was a completely voluntary act of self-sabotage. And I bought it the same week they announced this month's Employee of the Month. Which, coincidence probably? Definitely. Let's say definitely. His name's Gary. Gary's photo has been up so long, the frame needs its own frame. There's a rumor he got a reserved parking spot in 2019, and geologists could probably date the tire marks by now. I've never won it. Statistically, at this point, I might be actively ineligible. And like everyone else in the office, I glance at Gary's smiling, laminated face, catch my reflection for a split second, walk a little faster, hiding behind my mug like some kind of ironic shield, feeling that same quiet sting every month. Here's the thing, though. This was never really about Gary. It's about 3 separate psychological traps all running at once on the same wall. One catches the people who lose, one catches the guy who wins, and one's built into the entire system, quietly running both of the other 2. Let's open the first one. 40 employees, 1 photo. 39 people get nothing. And nothing sounds fine right up until you actually sit with what nothing is. It's not a blank space where recognition could have gone. It's a scheduled reminder that you didn't win. Right there on the calendar, wedged between the fire drill and the dentist appointment. Here's what that reminder actually does to your brain. First, it makes you look up. Not sideways. Up. You start comparing yourself to Gary, specifically, every day for a month straight. Psychologists call this upward comparison, and upward comparison only motivates you if you can actually see a path to closing the gap. If you can't, it doesn't inspire you. It teaches you something worse. It teaches your brain that trying harder isn't going to change the outcome. That's called learned helplessness. And once your brain learns that lesson, it goes looking for a way out. Here's the way out it usually finds. If the reward feels unfair, if Gary's getting the plaque for what looks from where you're sitting like the exact same effort you're putting in, your brain quietly runs a calculation. What am I putting in? What am I getting out? How does that compare to the guy on the wall? Psychologists call this equity theory. And when that math stops adding up, most people don't march into HR about it. They just quietly do less. You've heard the modern name for it, quiet quitting. It's not laziness. It's math. 39 people running the exact same equation, landing on the exact same answer. Why try harder for a game I already know I'm losing? Now, here's the twist nobody in that hallway sees coming. Gary isn't winning. Gary is trapped. Before that wall existed, Gary probably just liked his job, showed up, did good work, felt proud of it. That's intrinsic motivation. Strongest kind there is. Then the company bolted a reward onto it. A photo, a plaque, a parking spot he now has to defend like disputed territory. And something strange happens the second you do that. Gary's brain quietly rewrites the reason he's working. It stops being, I do good work because I care. It becomes, I do good work because there's a prize attached. Psychologists call this the Overjustification Effect. The external reward doesn't add to the motivation. It replaces it. Which means Gary's original, durable, no-strings-attached drive is gone now. What's actually keeping him showing up isn't reward anymore. It's fear of losing what he's already got. That's negative reinforcement, working to avoid a bad feeling instead of working toward a good one. And the bad feeling is worse than you'd think. Losing something hurts roughly twice as much as gaining the same thing feels good. Psychologists call that loss aversion, which means the thought of that photo coming down isn't a small inconvenience for Gary. It outweighs every single month he's already won, combined. Here's the part that's almost funny. Gary thinks everyone's watching him now. Every late arrival, every missed deadline, waiting for him to slip. That's the spotlight effect, the belief that people are paying way more attention to you than they actually are. And in Gary's case, he's completely wrong. The other 39 people aren't watching Gary at all. They're too busy running their own math from a minute ago, too busy quietly checking out of their own jobs to spend energy checking in on his. Gary is performing, exhausted, for an audience that already left the building. Here's the thing about both of those traps, though. Neither of them was an accident. They're both side effects of the exact same design flaw. The reward is controlling, built to steer behavior toward one visible outcome on a fixed schedule, whether anyone actually needed the push or not. Compare that to a completely different kind of feedback, the informational kind, something closer to, you handled that furious client without losing it on Tuesday. I noticed. It mattered. No plaque, no frame, no competition attached. And here's the part that actually determines whether it works. If that feedback lands on a predictable schedule, your brain treats it exactly like Gary's plaque. Expected reward, extrinsic motivation, same trap in a smaller frame. But if it shows up unexpectedly, genuinely out of nowhere, not gained for, not waited on, your brain processes it completely differently. It doesn't run the cost-benefit math. It just banks it as, oh, I'm actually good at this. Competence confirmed, motivation untouched. That's the whole trick. Not unpredictable rewards to keep everyone guessing. So, 2 fixes here. One for whoever's running the program, one for you, standing in that hallway with your coffee, same as me. For the company, it's simple enough though. Kill the fixed monthly wall. Replace it with specific, unscheduled, non-competitive feedback. Nobody has to lose, so somebody else gets to win. But you can't fire your own HR department. So here's the version that's actually yours to use. Psychologists talk about something called locus of control, whether you believe what happens to you is coming from inside you or from something outside you, like, say, a wall. Right now, that wall owns your locus of control. Every month, it hands your sense of worth to a stranger's laminated face and asks you to just accept the verdict. You can take that back, not by trying to beat Gary, by changing which question you're actually answering. Stop asking, how do I rank against Gary this month? Start asking, am I actually proud of what I built this week? One of those questions the wall controls completely. The other one it can't touch at all. So maybe it's time to take the photo down. Not because Gary didn't earn it years and several plaques ago, because that wall was never actually rewarding Gary in the first place. It was running 3 traps at once, one on 39 people, one on Gary, and one on the whole building quietly, every single month, whether anyone ever noticed or not. All bolted to a wall, right next to the flowers nobody remembers bringing. And if you want to keep taking apart the psychology hiding inside the most ordinary-looking parts of our lives, that's exactly what we do here. See you in the next one.